Most people think leaves are a complete nuisance and they spend all fall raking and bagging and throwing away their leaves. But you're actually sitting on hundreds of dollars of garden products when you're surrounded by leaves like this. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 steps to turn these leaves into the most valuable product you could ever use in your garden, saving you hundreds of dollars and giving you the most productive, beautiful garden ever next year. If you live in a manicured neighborhood like I do, then you're very used to everyone taking all the leaves away from the trees every single fall, and then come spring, covering their trees with mulch and soil and fertilizer. And let me tell you, none of that is necessary. If you look at leaves and the way they grow, the way they make it through the seasons every single year, you realize that trees and most plants actually take care of themselves. It's a pretty miraculous thing. So every spring, all these trees leaf out and then they grow to their fullest potential in the middle of the summer. As the fall comes and the temperatures go lower, then the trees start to drop their leaves. And it looks like it's just a bunch of trash, but it's actually next year's soil and fertilizer. Nature really is a perfectly enclosed system that takes care of itself if we would just get out of the way. I was so annoyed the other day. I was picking up my kids from school, driving down this boulevard, and you would not believe it, but not one, but 2 people were standing there with these gas-run blowers, and they are literally blowing leaves into the very street that I'm driving on. So these guys are getting paid to use gasoline to blow leaves onto the street so that me and 20 other moms can stir up the leaves into, it was a leaf cyclone for no good reason. And I'm like, don't you know that these leaves should be used in your garden? First of all, you don't need a leaf blower. You know, like those blowers, if you've ever watched someone use a leaf blower, they're just like chasing leaves around a yard. It is hilarious. And have we talked about the noise pollution? Because I can't tell you how many times I've been filming or doing work in my garden, and then suddenly somebody next door cranks up their gas-powered leaf blower and totally makes me want to run inside and put on some noise-canceling headphones. So back to my point, all you need is a rake, some leaves, and a little bit of muscle. You're gonna get the best workout, get your heart rate up a little bit, get your steps in, and all the leaves are gonna stay exactly where you put them because you did it by hand with a rake and not using some gas-powered blower. So now let's go find some more leaves. But before we do that, if you're like me and you get annoyed too when you drive around seeing people wasting resources and energy or not having the best kind of garden or yard that they could, chances are you are an experienced gardener, and chances are you would be an incredible garden coach. I love training gardeners to become garden coaches because I want to change the world one gardener at a time. If you are an experienced gardener and you've ever thought, could I make money starting a business helping other people learn how to do stuff like turn leaves into compost, then you should check out our certification program. You can find out how to apply right below this video. So you could use a wheelbarrow at this point, but that is way too sophisticated for me. So I just love using a tarp. You simply need something to help you move massive amounts of leaves without doing too much work. Now you might be thinking, but Nicole, I don't have leaves like you do. Maybe I have enough leaves to blow and put in a bag and put on the curb, but not leaves like this. And I can totally relate. 2 houses back in my Houston home, all we had in my yard were pine trees. So you know what I did? I just got in my minivan and I just took everybody else's leaves and put them in the back of my van, brought them on home, and did this exact same project. So even though you may not have leaves, I guarantee you've got neighbors who didn't watch this video and have no idea the gold they're throwing away. So just drive around, pick up their trash, and turn it into your own garden treasure. At this point, we want to expedite the process of these leaves turning into incredible garden soil. And the way we do that is putting these leaves in a more compact setting. So we want to have as many leaves as possible in a really small space. That's one of the first things that expedites the process of these leaves decomposing. Then we want to be sure that those leaves get a little bit of moisture and a lot of oxygen, a lot of air. And that is is what is going to turn these leaves into compost in a very short amount of time. There are at least 3 ways to get your leaves nice and compact so they start turning into compost really quickly. The first is to build a little cage. You can use metal like a chicken wire or a hardware cloth and build a cage somewhere on your property to put all those leaves together and let them start breaking down. In fact, let's go do that right now. So here is one easy way that you can cage up your leaves and let them turn into incredible compost for your garden over a very short period of time. I've done this in almost all of my home gardens. It's a super simple process that only requires 3 things. You need some kind of wire or cage material. In this case, I'm using chicken wire. I've also done it with hardware cloth, but buyer beware, hardware cloth and cattle fencing can really hurt if you cut yourself with it. So today I am using chicken wire. It's a lot softer and it's also great for indoor floral projects. So I know I'll use it all up, even if I don't spend it all on this little compost pile. So I just take the little edge of the wire, wrap it around. It has a natural gripping sense of it. And so I just wrap it around that first stake. And then I'm just gonna slowly bring it around every other stake. The ground out here is super soft, but you might need a mallet or a hammer of some sort to get your stakes secured. You can make this circle, you can make this cage as wide or as small as your property allows. The idea here is when you cage in your leaves, you really take the power of their decomposition and you multiply it. I'm at the end of this super easy project, and now all I've got to do is trim off my chicken wire right at the edge, and then chicken wire gives you this nice little metal tip that you can use to attach it to the circle. I have a few more things to show you, but before that, if you love tips like this, if you love saving money in the garden and growing the most delicious fruits and vegetables in your backyard, then you should subscribe to my channel, because duh, every single week we talk about awesome stuff like this. So please, 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 please subscribe, like, give me a thumbs up, and then share it with somebody who needs to stop throwing away their leaves too. The second way to make leaf mold compost that I learned a couple years ago and tried out in Illinois is simply by using kitchen trash bags. So all you gotta do to use this method, and this works great if you have a lot less space, is you just take a kitchen trash bag, fill it up with leaves as full as possible. You wanna add a little bit of water into this bag and literally fill it to the brim, and then you're just gonna poke a few holes on the bottom of the bag and place it at the back of your property. But I am trying to use a lot less plastic in my garden, so I'm not gonna be using this method anymore. Instead, I've changed to this third method, which is just using a natural bag that's made of jute. So this is a wonderful natural fiber, and it already has holes just naturally into the weave. So you're gonna get a lot of airflow, and you're gonna be able to stuff these things full of leaves. I mean, look how big this thing is. So you would do almost exactly what you do with the plastic bag. Just fill it up to the brim with leaves and then close it up and place it somewhere on your property so that the leaves can slowly break down inside the bag and turn into compost inside this beautiful natural material. If you've got a ton of leaves, then you're gonna find that you fill those bags up really quickly, and that's why the cage is my favorite method and the one I'm using now. So now we're bringing the rest of these leaves out to that cage to fill her up. If you've got the space, this is definitely my favorite way to make my own leaf mold compost. It's nice and tidy, it takes care of itself, and you don't have to have all those bags. So remember, the main thing we're looking for here is to speed up the composting process, and we're doing that with compaction, a little bit of moisture, and moving the leaves every now and then so that they get more oxygen and air to them. So you're probably wondering, how long is this gonna take, Nicole? Let me show you. It's not as long as you think. So here we have a pile of leaves that I didn't really do anything to. We didn't put it in a bag and we didn't put it into a cage. It's just been sitting here for about a year. So if we go down a couple of inches, you can see how these leaves slowly have started to decompose. In fact, you can start to see the difference right about here. So here we've got leaves from just about a year ago, maybe a little bit less, and you can see how they're starting to turn from this nice crunchy material like we have this year to this very fine, soft material. This happens about 6 months to 1 year, depending on the temperature, moisture level, and other environmental factors that might speed it up or slow it down. But this is the texture you're gonna get. This is what you're gonna be looking at about a year after you start your leaf compost pile. From 12 months to 2 years, those leaves break down even further until they are just pure garden compost. There is really nothing better you can put into your garden than this stuff. So you can actually add these leaves to your garden at any point, but I love to add them at this finished part of their process so that I know they're not going to decompose anymore in the garden, and just add lots of nutrients to make everything grow better. So let's go to the garden and do that right now. So I found that my garden needs an extra dose of compost about every 2 to 3 months. This is because I plant it the Gardenary way, where it's super intensively planted and it changes every season. So every time I pull plants from one season and start the next one, I really want to add a little layer of compost to get the next season going. And this is where these decomposed leaves really come in. So I can head to the bottom of my leaf compost pile. I can grab a little bit of leaf mold compost and put this below all my plants so that they're ready to thrive for the next season. A recent study showed that home gardeners are spending way too much money on outside resources to grow their own food, and we can totally change that just by something as simple as gathering up leaves, either from our neighborhood or our own backyard, and turning it into compost just like this. Nature really is a complete cycle, and we can complete that cycle season after season without having to spend tons of money at the garden center. The more years I spend in the garden, the more amazed I am at the wonders of nature, the way it takes care of itself and it takes care of me. So I hope this video inspires you to grab a rake, get out in your backyard, gather some leaves, or just get in your minivan, drive around town and find everybody else's trash. Turn it into the most amazing compost and grow the best garden ever next year without spending all that money. I'll see you next time.